Welcome to Personal Development Mastery Podcast, and this is another Snippets of Wisdom episode where I select my favorite, most insightful moments from previous episodes of the podcast. Today's Snippet of Wisdom comes from my conversation with Jean Atman, who is an energy medicine specialist. The clip I chose to play for you from that conversation is about the importance of becoming aware and recognizing every time we are in a state of suffering. I hope this snippet is as insightful for you as it was for me. When you say focusing inwards, do you mean that at a psychological level or at a spiritual level or both? So describe a bit more in detail how you mean it's going inwards.
That's a really good question. So we have different bodies. We have our emotional body, right? So we have triggers. So those are wonderful gifts of nuggets of information, because if a trigger comes in, you know it, you feel it, and you're like, that sucks. I don't like that. And so that's information. So emotionally, you get information. Mentally, when you find yourself in those loops of regretting the past or in fear of the future, you're creating suffering mentally, right? In your spiritual body, if you have any sort of, things from the past that continue to repeat themselves, you're evolving through those karmic cycles. And when those karmic cycles surface, it's really asking for you to pay attention to that, to nurture it and to heal it. We're not meant to stay in these states of looping suffering. We're meant to have something get our attention to say something needs to be healed. So, and the physical body, if you have pain in the physical body, anytime there's pain, it's just simply stuck energy. So that's why I love energy healing so much, because you can basically, and like I just said, anytime there's pain, it's just stuck energy, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual. So when you start to clear the energy body, you remove everything that's attached to it. So in my work, I specifically deal with limiting beliefs that create negative experiences on repeat for people. So when we go in and we see where that limiting belief is, we start to energetically clear that, as well as bring the cognition of how they're repeating that throughout their lives, how they're reinstating that on a daily basis. We start to make those corrections. You start to see life change really rapidly. But until you identify what's going on inside, it's really hard to make changes. You're just kind of shooting in the dark, hoping that something works. So I know that was a really complex question. So to simplify, I would say, recognizing anytime that you're in a state of suffering, that something is surfacing to be healed. So recognizing if it's uncomfortable, if you're being triggered, if you're mentally looping through things, it's information that something's ready to be healed. And so taking that time to just go within and, even if it's a walk, it doesn't have to be a week-long retreat. It can be a walk, and you can just pose the question to yourself, what's going on in there? What do I really need? How can I separate myself from this negative experience? What's asking to be healed? And when you start to do self-care like that, because that's real, that self-care and soul care is just asking, what do I need? And how can I meet those needs for myself? And when you start to meet those needs for yourself, you're going to be less dependent or codependent on other people, because you're feeling very fulfilled and satisfied within.
Thank you for tuning in. You can listen to the full conversation in episode 127. The link is in the show notes. And I also have a free and useful resource to share with you, a curated catalog of the 10 best episodes of the podcast in 3 main categories of life. So the top 10 episodes about money, the top 10 about health, and the top 10 about mastering your personal development. To get this free ebook, go to personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/top10. You will also find the link in the show notes. Until next time, stand out, don't fit in,